Welcome into the Commanders Report. I'm your host, Jack Sperry, and today I have 8 things that you guys need to be keeping your eye on for the Washington Commanders preseason Week 2 matchup against the Miami Dolphins in Miami Gardens at Hard Rock Stadium this weekend. And again, guys, we're going to be going live for our live watch party here, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time here on the Commanders Report. We're going to be going live for just about every single Commanders game, preseason, regular season, and who knows, maybe some postseason games as well if we're lucky. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already. Again, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and we will be going live all throughout the season as well. We have a weekly live show every single Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern as well. It's a great community of Commanders fans here, man. We're getting really close to 20,000 subscribers. Help us get closer right now by clicking that subscribe button. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to be keeping my eye on here is I want to give Maverick, otherwise known as Jayden Daniels, that's my new nickname for him, some more run. Okay, he had one drive last week against the Jets, and it looked really good. He had that deep bomb down the field that he audibled to, even though he didn't have permission to. He had that great run from the read option. He made the right read. He got a touchdown. All that's great, but it was a super small sample size, all right? I want to see him go up against a first-team NFL defense in the Miami Dolphins, a team that's probably going to make the playoffs this year. Lots of talent on that defense, and I want to see him show the same things that he did against the Jets last weekend. Last weekend, the Jets kind of played their backups. They didn't really play any of their starters, so it was more of like a second-team defense. And this week, it looks like Daniels is going to get more playing time. He's going to get more pass attempts. He's going to get more drives, more opportunities, and it's going to be up against a first-team defense. So this is really going to be a huge litmus test to see if Jayden Daniels is ready to be this team's QB1 heading into Week 1 against the Buccaneers. Another thing that I'm going to be looking out for here is I want Emmanuel Forbes to show us something, all right? Because what he has only shown us so far in training camp is disappointment to this point. He's had some flashes, but generally, whenever he's going up against really good receivers that he should be going up against here as a first-round pick heading into his second year, he gets absolutely toasted. I mean, last week against the Jets, he gave up a touchdown against a receiver that's probably not even going to make their roster in Brownlee. Okay, and I think that Forbes needs to get it going, or else he might end up getting benched again. Okay, we know that he got benched last year multiple times because he really struggled in coverage. He was a liability in the run and screen game because he just doesn't have the functional strength to go up against these other receivers that block him. So Forbes needs to get it going, man. He really does. I'm really rooting for him. I really want him to be that ball hawk type player that he was at Mississippi State, where he had 6 pick sixes, an NCAA record, but he just hasn't shown that level of play here in the National Football League, at least not yet. I'm hoping he does that against some really good receivers that the Dolphins have. Then we go to Jahan Dotson here, and I'm wondering if he can bounce back after, kind of a slow start to training camp, and then he didn't have the best week last week against the New York Jets. He fell down on a route where he should have been wide open for a touchdown. I know some people thought it was holding, but he fell down on his own. And it does sound like, according to what Dan Quinn is talking about right now during practices, that Dotson's on the hot seat, and there's legitimate competition with Olamide Zaccheaus, with De'Ami Brown, with Luke McCaffrey. It sounds like a lot of people are getting opportunities to see who is the best receiver to fill that wide receiver 2 spot. We all know Terry McLaurin is the number 1, all right? But it seems like Jahan Dotson isn't playing well enough to secure himself as a former first-round pick heading into his 3rd year in the league as the number 2 receiver, and that's definitely disappointing. However, a good week this week could definitely help his chances quite a bit. So let me know down there in the comments section. We've talked about Emmanuel Forbes and Jahan Dotson, the first-round picks for both 2022 and 2023 for this football team. Both of them struggling right now, so let me know down there in the comments section who's got the hotter seat. Type EF for Emmanuel Forbes or type JD for Jahan Dotson. This is going to be the pinned comment on today's show. So YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. When that happens, take advantage of that time by answering today's pinned question. Another thing I'll be looking out for here is how does Andrew Wylie look? He was injured last week, so he's going to be getting kind of his first game action of the year coming up here. And, his cap hit is pretty high, right? It's getting close to $10 million after he signed that contract with this team last offseason. And that's the 4th highest on the team. And despite that high cap hit, he did not perform well last year. And, you know, you have to play him because he's your fourth highest paid player on the team. But he gave up 9 sacks last year. That is unacceptable heading into this year with Jayden Daniels under center. So Andrew Wylie, they kept him around this year for a reason. At least I hope. I really hope that he shows that he is capable of still being a starting caliber tackle here in the National Football League this Saturday. So coming up here on the Commanders Report, more storylines to watch. I got 4 more storylines for you guys to keep your eye on here. But before we get into it, man, Jayden Daniels is looking phenomenal in Commanders training camp right now. And if you want to get his officially licensed Commanders jersey in your closet just in time for the start of the regular season, you can go chatsports.com/Daniels right now to pick up your very own Jayden Daniels Commanders jersey. Also, if you click our link, chatsports.com/Daniels. I'll put that link in the comments and description of today's show. If you click that link and you make a purchase, Fanatics is going to send us part of the proceeds. So not only can you get a Jayden Daniels jersey in your closet, but you also get to help out the channel. So if that sounds good to you guys, go to chatsports.com/Daniels and get your jersey today. So now another thing that I'm going to be watching out for, somebody that really impressed me during the Jets game was Michael Wiley, the running back, undrafted free agent this year. And honestly, I thought he looked better than Chris Rodriguez Jr. All right, Chris looked a little slow. He looked like he couldn't really get going, but Michael Wiley was making guys miss. He showed really good vision. He was working with the blocks that the offensive line was giving him, and he also had a touchdown. All right, so he had a really nice day, and I'm hoping for another nice day against the Miami Dolphins when he eventually plays in the second half. Right now, based on the performance last week, I think he could potentially challenge Chris Rodriguez Jr. For the number 3 running back spot. So that competition is definitely going to be one that I'm looking out for. Another player that impressed me week 1 of the preseason was Jayden Daniels, somebody that missed his entire rookie season. He plays right and left tackle in that game against the Jets, and he looked good at both spots. Okay, so right now we know that tackle is a big question mark. Brandon Coleman is a huge question mark with the injuries he's dealing with right now. Cornelius Lucas, I'm not a huge believer in terms of a full-year starter type of guy. And then we already talked about my concerns with Andrew Wylie after the season he had last year. So if Jayden Daniels can come out of nowhere here and really be a really good player for this offensive line, that could be a godsend for the Washington Commanders. Had a really good week last week. I'm hoping he can follow it up with another good performance, man. And make sure you guys like the video if you haven't already. If you're pumped for Saturday like I am, man, it's going to be a lot of fun. Jayden Daniels is going to get a lot more run, or at least we hope, than he had against the Jets. So if you're ready to see Jayden Daniels light it up for the Commanders once again on Saturday, make sure you click that thumbs up icon and like today's video. 2 more storylines to get to here. Martavis Bryant was signed this week. He's somebody that hasn't played in an NFL game since 2018. So it's been a long time coming for Martavis Bryant, and he does bring size to this wide receiver room, so I'm intrigued to see how he plays. I think he's going to play mostly in the second half. But he does have that big frame. He is a former NFL pro. There is a reason after such a long hiatus, teams are willing to bring him in for workouts and keep him on their roster. So obviously he's looked impressive enough. I guess we'll see how good he looks in actual game action. And then Riley Patterson seems to have won the Commanders' starting kicker competition. They released Ramiz Ahmed, but Patterson hasn't really kicked all that well this preseason and in training camp either. He's missed a lot of kicks, including one in that first preseason game against the Jets. So he has to earn his job. All right, if he continues to miss kicks, the Commanders are going to have no choice but to release him and to try to find somebody else from another team that eventually gets cut at the end of the preseason. So make no mistake, even with Ramiz Ahmed out of the building, Riley Patterson still needs to prove that he is worth this position for the Washington Commanders. So shout out your guy down there in the comment section. Which non-quarterback are you most excited to watch on Saturday? We're all excited to see Jayden Daniels, right? He's obviously at the top of the list. But outside of JD, which guy are you most excited to watch? For me personally, I think I'm actually excited to watch Jayden Daniels, offensive line play, man. I'm really hoping that he can be that surprise standout player for the Commanders this year on the offensive line. But let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section. And make sure you click that subscribe button if you haven't already. We will be going live 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Joey Peterson is going to be going live for our live watch party this weekend. So make sure you click that subscribe button. And until next time, hail to the Commanders.